Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Randall. I'm a Regional Director for GoldenCare USA. I want to thank everybody for taking time out of their day to get on the mutual software and product discussion. If you've never used our software, I think you're really going to like it. It's very intuitive, does everything. And I think I'm just going to jump right into it, going over the product today. You can see today I'm dealing with John Doe and Jane Doe. I'm John Randall, the agent, and they're in Kansas right now. We almost always use the custom product. You can see we do have a secure product too. It just doesn't have near as many features. And the way we need to redo some of our thinking on how we're selling, the custom really works out very well. We're going to have partners. They're both insured. One male, one female. We're going to just use both age 60. If you want to put in the birth date, Mutual of Omaha does save up to 30 days for your birthday. So if their birthday was November 15th, they would stay at age 60 instead of 61 all the way for 30 days past November 15th. So if you're ever wondering about it, put in the date and that'll automatically do it for you and figure out the save age. We almost always go select, even if they are people that are going to be preferred, because Mutual of Omaha will move them up. The reason we do that is it's a heck of a lot easier to give them money back than it is to collect more. So unless you're positive, there is a page in the underwriting guide. And the nice part about this, both guides are right there. Here's the product guide. Here's the underwriting guide. If you click on it, it'll pop up and you can see the table of contents that I just went right by. All the different things. And if you want to know if they can be get the preferred, just go to the preferred rate class, criteria preferred underwriting, and that'll tell you right there. Let's see if I can get the other screen back up. So again, both the screens are right, or both the guides are right up there in that corner. That's very nice to know that you can pop something up, look up diabetes, cancer, whatever the case, right in front of you. Then we go to our monthly benefit. Right now, the average cases that we're writing are 3,000 to 4,500, and quite a few 5,000 too. But I'm just going to go right in the middle, about 4,000. Here's something I want to show people, because a lot of people may do comparing apples to apples, which is really hard to do with Mutual with all the extra stuff they have in there. But some people say, you know, I want exactly a 3-year plan. Here's the one part that Secure is kind of good for. You go there, you have your $4,000, you hit 3 years, and it shows you it's $144,000. Then you go back to custom, just black it out right there, hit 144, and there you automatically have 3 years. So you can get any year you want amount. If you don't know how to do the math, just go up there. It's a lot easier. So now we have $4,000 for a 3-year plan, which is $144,000 pool of money. Right here's our elimination period. That's how many days you have to wait before the plan will start paying. 90 days is the most common, but I like to throw on the home health care waiver, meaning right away, day one, they can start getting benefits at home. If they go 90-day calendar days at home, it's a calendar day elimination instead of a service day. That means 90 days later, if they had to go to assisted living or a nursing home, it would be paid for. They wouldn't have to have any out of pocket. It is about a 9% load, depending on their age. So you can see it adds a little cost to it, but you know, paying $500 more a year for, let's say, 20 years is still going to be a lot cheaper than paying the full nursing home amount for 90 days before your policy kicked in. Right now, especially on the states that haven't changed 3% compound is the most common. You're going to see some of the states that have had changes in pricing. You're going to want to raise your benefit here. And if you haven't signed up already, sign up for tomorrow, Cracking the Code. And Jeff Clark, another regional director, is going to show you how to redesign the plan to keep it really close to how it's priced now. But remember, especially for single people, the plan isn't much higher. Mutual hasn't changed their rates in 7 years, which is unheard of in the industry. So to keep their block of business intact and strong, it was a very good move of them to increase their pricing going forward to new clients. For one thing, most new clients don't know that. And for the second thing, it's still the best policy out there, the best product. And Mutual Omaha's got a great name. Being a mutual company, there isn't a big chance of any rate increases going out to the consumers. If you look at the old blocks of business, Mutual's rate increases are very minute compared to the giants out there, the Genworths and the Hancocks. So I think you really like the strength of Mutual Omaha. And when you figure out all the idiosyncrasies of this policy, again, tomorrow they'll teach you how to reprice it. Right now, there's over 25 states that you can go all the way down to 1%, and it's still partnership qualified. And we rely on a lot on the partnership, but in reality, it's not a very widely used situation. In a weird way, we like to say it's for the near poor. If Indiana was one of the original partnership states, and in 2008, which is quite a while ago, but it had a big block of policies out there that were partnership, only 0.05% ever enacted that. Out of 320,000 partnership policies, only 500 actually used the dollar-for-dollar asset protection. And that's because a lot of times you're in an assisted living, or maybe a very nice nursing home, or maybe even at home care. But to qualify for partnership where you get your asset protection, you have to move to a Medicaid-approved facility, a Medicaid-approved nursing home. And a lot of people are like, I still have $1.5 million. I'm not going into that place just to preserve my assets. So it's nice to tell the customers about partnership, and it is good for some of the clients. Some people don't have a ton of equity or assets to protect, and what they do, they might want to pass down. So in that case, partnership's very strong, but make sure you tell your client about it. But it's not an end all to make the sale. So if you're in a state like Ohio, which for some reason hasn't changed from 3%, or to give you a chance to sell less than 3%, remember, tell your clients about it. But if it really is, pricing is a more important aspect. There's ways that Jeff will show you tomorrow of really decreasing the premium amount and giving the policy the exact same or even stronger strength, especially in the beginning. But we're going to go with the straight 3% compound here. Over here, you can see with the assisted living, Kansas only gives you one choice. In a lot of states, you can go 50%, 75%, or 100% assisted living. It doesn't change a ton in the pricing, and more than likely, most policies we sell have 100% facility. The home care has 50, 75, or 100% built in. Now, this case, if it's a married couple, we probably always keep it at 100% because they have a better chance of staying at home. But a single person might say, no, if something happens to me, there's no way I can keep up and take care of this house. The mowing of the lawn and the shoveling of the walks and the just general repairs around the house. If something happens to me because I'm alone and my kids don't live close, I'm going to have to go right to an assisted living. So you could lower the home health care, bring it down to 50% and save them, a little bit of money each year. And that way, if something small happened and they still had to stay at home, they're going to get by for, if they just needed help for 4 or 5 months and then we're back on their feet. And that's, again, all about the premium and what the person can afford. So in this case, I'm going to keep it at 100% for the home health care. If you can see on the old product, there was a 40% cash benefit built in. The max you can get right up front is $2,400, but in this case, 40% of $4,000 is $1,600. And you know what the cash says? Cash says you never have to say sorry at claim time. If you have a policy with no cash, can my wife take care of me? Sorry. Can my daughter take care of me? Sorry. No. How about my niece? No. Sorry. Cash, again, you never have to say you're sorry. Any circumstance you can come up with, you have that cash, which also will grow by 3%, and you can use it any way you absolutely desire, and you can pay anybody that you want. There's a lot of cases, especially at the beginning of Alzheimer's, which is more than 50% of all claims right now, where, especially maybe if dad gets it, mom doesn't want a stranger to come in her house anyway. They feel like they have to clean up just to have somebody come over because they don't want anybody to think their house is a mess. And you know what? Mom's perfectly capable of taking care of dad. He can bathe by himself if she tells him to bathe. He'll dress himself if you give him his clothes. He can eat if you cook for him. He'll take his pills if you put them out for him. You want to make sure he doesn't walk out the front door or put a hot pad in the toaster, or, as my dad did, order everything he could on the TV before we figured out where his credit card was. But I did get some very nice wildlife 8-track, or what were they called back then? VHS or whatever. I don't even remember what they are anymore. But anyway, besides that, the cash is one of the greatest parts. With the old life investors policy we had, over 50% of the people who took cash never switched to reimbursement because it was so much easier for them to use the cash and pay their family, friends, whoever, to watch or to help out with the care. Then we have our couples benefits. Shared care means with this plan right here, dad gets Alzheimer's. He uses his full 3 years to whatever it's growing at the time benefit. He can tap into mom's benefit and use 2 years of it. You have to leave 1 year for the remaining spouse. But shared care is a very good selling point, especially when you're sitting across from mom and dad and you give your pitch and mom's shaking her head yes and dad's shaking his head no. You know why? Because most men don't think they're ever going to need long-term care. And if you go to a facility, a nursing home, and check it out, it is about 70% women. But you know what? That means 30% of them are guys. So guys are going to go. They just don't ever believe it. With the shared care, the selling point is he'll go, you know what? I like that because when I pass away, now I know my wife's taken care of with 6 years of care because she inherits his whole plan. If he used 1 year and passed away, she would inherit the other 2 years. So it's a very nice thing to add on. Shared care, again, it's all about premium. You can see it brings it up a little bit. Survivorship is when they put that on the policy, it says, if one of you passes away, you have to own the policy for at least 10 years. But if one of you passes away, the other one gets lifetime waiver of premium. So again, they buy it at 60, at 72. John passes away. Jane gets her policy paid up for the rest of her life. If they had the survivorship with the shared care, it would still be paid up, but she would inherit his plan and she'd have a 6-year plan. So survivorship, again, adds some to the premium. Again, it's all about what they can afford. Joint waiver premium, actually, if you look at it, doesn't add much on, $80 a year. Joint waiver premium Right now, if they go on claim and they don't have that, and John goes on claim, he doesn't pay his premium anymore as long as he's on claim. With joint waiver premium, it says if one of you go on claim, now neither of you have to pay your premium. And it's a pretty good deal, especially if you have a one-income household, because that could be a little bit of strain if the person that goes on is the income earner. But joint waiver premium, because of the cost of the price, we do see it added quite often. Again, $80 a year on this premium. The non-forfeiture shortened benefit period, we almost never sell. Basically what it is, if you put it on, you can see it's quite a bit of a load. But it says, if you put this on there anytime for any reason down the road, if you want to drop the policy, we'll give you back what you paid in premium as care, not as cash. So if they paid this $4,600 for 10 years, they would have $46,000 that they can use in care. We don't put it on because built in is what's called a contingent non-forfeiture. And the contingent non-forfeiture says that if you have enough rate increases compared to how long you've had the policy, they'll give you so much back in your premium anyway. Now, we saw with the Hancock and Genworth policies that when they were coming out with these rate increases, which in fact they're still coming out with, unlike the mutual companies, which very rarely have a rate increase, that the states force them to make one of the options. You know, they'll usually say you can drop your inflation or you can drop your lifetime down to a 5-year plan and keep your premiums in check. But one of the things a lot of states forced them to do was say, or you can get everything you paid in back. So we don't sell it because it's like selling a rate increase up front, and rate increases are so not happening anymore to the new products that you wouldn't have to worry about it. They do a rate refresh and catch the new people, but the people that have their policies are very safe. 200% professional care, again, I really like that. What it says is you have $4,000 a month benefit for your home health care. But if you have a professional come in, you have all the way up to $8,000 a month. Basically, every day that you have a professional come in, it doubles for that day. So if you had something very serious for 30 days, every day you had to have a nurse come in, your benefit would double to $8,000. When you combine that with the home health care waiver, now you have $8,000 that's paying right off the bat, right up front. So say dad had a pretty serious stroke. You have double the benefit, and if you can keep them home for 90 days, because you're already waiver of your elimination period at home, and if you can keep them home for at least 90 days, it wipes out the nursing home and assisted living elimination period also. So it's a great way to make sure they'll probably never have to pay for their elimination period. And that's the 200% home care. If you can see it, it doesn't add a ton to it. And it's going to keep your out-of-pocket expenses way down. So I really like that 200% home care. If you can see, we have 4 different options for return of premium, with one being none. No return of premium. We do have a before age 65 return of premium, and that says if you pass away anytime before the age of 65, we'll give your money back, everything you paid in. Now, to a 60-year-old, it doesn't add a lot of premium, but it also, means yeah, you might pass away in the next 5 years. So again, the premium's cheap enough you could add that. But if you sell to 40-year-olds or 45-year-olds or even 50-year-olds, it's a really nice little option for them in case something does happen, because that would be devastating enough, somebody passing away while they're still of working age. We have another one that's really unique, the 3 times monthly maximum. Basically what that says, if you put that on there, when either one of these pass away, and it's always the original amount they use, but this 3 times 4,000 would be $12,000. It's kind of like a little final expense built right in. Um, and it comes in handy, at the time of death. It gives them that little extra money to use for whatever reason they want. So it's just another nice little option to have. The last one is less claims paid. We don't sell a lot of return of premium, maybe unless it's a C Corp paying for it. This just says if either one of you pass away, we'll give you all your premium back, and there's no restriction on when you can use this. You can use it year 1 if you passed away, or year 25 or 30, whatever the case. But if they'll give you every penny you put in back, minus any claims paid. Now you can see for this case, it's about $1,800 a year. A lot of times you can find a policy, a life insurance policy, that you can combine that's actually cheaper than that. This is just convenient, and if there's some reason like a C Corp is paying for it, they might put that on so C Corp can get their money back, whatever the case. But again, it's all up to the individual and the agent how you like to sell that. But we don't do a ton of it. Next, you can see we do annual. You can do semi-annual, quarterly, or monthly premiums. So that's just, again, how you want to view it. Over here, if it's an association that's set up, pre-set up, and you're selling it, they get a 5% discount. If you're a producer and you're selling to yourself and your spouse, you get a 5% discount. Or if you're doing the common employer, and remember, the common employer is pretty nice. You can walk into any workplace. If you get 5 employees to take an application, and again, you set this up in advance, but you get a 5% discount, and then that extends to their spouses and any employee who buys after that fact. So you just need 5 to get it started, and then employees are anytime, you could hire a new guy 8 months later, and he might say, yes, I would like that. They get that 5% discount. So we're doing this case for John and Jane Doe, but they want a couple of different examples. So I'm going to copy this quote, and now this quote is over here to be saved, but they also want to see a 3,000 3-year plan. So that's 108,000. And again, I'm just showing you that. That's an easy way to figure it out. And I always have to click on and click off to get it straight. But now they're only looking at $278 a month. That might fit their budget a little better. They still got the home health care waiver and the professional home health care. And now I go over here and I copy and save that. So now if I save this client, those quotes will always be there. When I open him back up, open a client, I would go to John Randall, look for John and Jane Doe, open it up, and I can revisit those quotes, the 370 and the 278. Now, you also might want to preview what that looks like. So they have all kinds of different pages here, and it shows it for husband and wife. I'm just going to bring this up so you can see it. It says it's designed for John and Jane Doe from John Randall. It gives you the date, and it gives you the state in real small writing down here. You'll see it says Kansas. Then the next page see if I can raise that up a little bit. So the next page shows you the actual deck page. Here it says John and Jane, age 60. It's the, up here you can see it's the custom solutions that we quoted. And it gives you the exact plan. $108,000, your cash is $1,200. You have 0-day on elimination on your cash, so you can always start using cash day one, even if you have a 90-day elimination period. The only thing to remember is cash doesn't take away from your elimination period. So if you had a 90-day elimination without the 0-day home care on it, and you used the cash for a year and a half, and then they had to go to a facility before they ever used their home care reimbursement, they would have to pay for the first 90 days. That's again why we like that 0-day home health care. So at least try to keep them at home for 90 days to get rid of all their elimination. And it shows you how much you have per month for each year, nursing home, assisted living, home care, and then that's $6,000 a month for professional home care. Shows your elimination period, shows that it's partnership qualified. And one thing I didn't mention before, the compound inflation with lifetime buyout. We have 3% on there. Anytime in the first 20 years or to the age of 75, you can buy up your inflation without showing assurability. So let's say at 68, Dad starts showing signs of memory loss. He actually even goes to the doctor, and the doctor says, yeah, you have beginning Alzheimer's. They could, on their next anniversary, raise his inflation to 5%. And then maybe a year and a half later, when he goes on claim, he doesn't pay his premium anymore. And he's getting his policy is inflating by 5% compound instead of the 3% compound. So he might pay a little more for a year and a half. Then he's getting the power of 5% compounding for free. But where it's really meant to use it is you're dealing with somebody in their 50s, 55, and they love the plan with the 3% compound, $4,000 a year for 3 years, whatever the case. But they said, you know what, we have 2 kids in college and we're still paying on our mortgage. But in 5 years, you know what, they'll be done with college and we'll have the house paid off. Is there a possibility we could increase the inflation? Yes. Or then, 5 years from now. Again, they can do it any time in the first 20 years or to the age of 75, and they could raise it to 4% and 2 years later raise it to 5% or whatever they wanted to do. But maybe they had to go with the 1% compound right away because they couldn't afford it with their mortgage and 2 kids in college. But once they paid that off, again, without showing insurability, you just can't be on claim. You can raise it to 3%, 3.5%, whatever you want. So it's very strong. Nobody else in the industry has that. That's a big, powerful thing, especially with all of our inflation options, to get somebody in a good plan and then strengthen it up later when they're more where they can afford it. We did put the waiver of home health care on there. We put the professional home care on there. They get a 30% partner discount, and that's one of the big hits with the new policy that came out. It's only a 15% partner savings now, so you're automatically going to be 15% higher. But again, after 7 years, that's a very, very small amount. And all it does is strengthen their whole block of business by making a move like this. So it shows you they're real dedicated to the market. Again, it shows you the annual, semi-annual, quarterly, or monthly premium for each one, and then combine. And if you can see on there, the females are quite a bit more expensive. And that's because back in about 2013, all the companies went to gender rating. I told you about 70% of people in assisted living are women. Well, that's kind of across the board. women just use this plan a lot longer. They use it longer, and they're more apt to not basically drop dead like some guys can. Let's go on to the next pages. I'm almost done here. This just gives you alternate home health care and assisted living options. And again, the bigger policy you have, the more options it'll show. This is for John, and then it'll show for Jane. The break-even analysis is really nice too. This shows with different compounds how much and different policy limits, the different costs it would cost. So they're very nice alternative pages. Just that'll give your client a bunch of options if you have to send it to them in email or something so they can look through it. Or if they ask you real quick, what would that cost me if I brought the plan up from $108,000 to $168,000? Well, it'd go from $106 to $126. So it's just a chart that you do your crossing on. And there's the break even I wanted to show you, and I know it's a little hard to see here. Break even analysis just says if you're paying this much a year, and this is John, if he buys it at 60 and uses it at 85, he would need 152 days of using his policy to break even. So you can look at John and Jane and can you see yourself, sometime in the next 40 years needing to use this policy for a half a year? And they're both going to say yes, because they know there's a really good chance, especially with the married couple, that one or two, at least one of them is going to use it. But with a married couple, it's over 90% chance of the policy getting used. So you can preview it, you can print it, you can email it right to somebody, or you can make a PDF of it and email it to somebody, or just keep it in your PDF file. But again, a very intuitive software. It really, anytime you change anything, it changes for you, the price right in front of you. I'm going to go ahead, and if you have any questions, type them in. We'll make sure we follow up with you and get those back to you. I went a couple minutes over what I wanted, but I hope I showed you a couple unique things that really makes Mutual Omaha different from all the other policies out there. And if you're selling in Pennsylvania, Kansas, Massachusetts, Maryland, or Wisconsin, they are changing their rates starting November 1st. And be real articulate. If you do sell in any of those states, if you're getting it, they have to be signed before November 1st, and they have to be received before November 19th, and then you're going to be absolutely no exceptions this time. If it's not received on time or not signed on time, there's no exceptions. So make sure you keep that in mind. That's joining the 32 states that have already had their rate adjustment: Pennsylvania, Kansas, Massachusetts, Maryland, and Wisconsin. Also, remember to join Jeff Clark tomorrow to see how we basically crack the code and can make these policies the price that looks kind of dynamic in some situations where it looks like it went up 45% compared to the old one. We can knock that back down to 20 or less percent, which still makes us way competitive out there. And, just the difference in the policy, it's already the no-brainer kind of that Mutual's the king out there. But I want to wish everybody a great day, happy rest of their week. Hope everybody stays safe. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks much. Take care.
Check out our website, GoldenCareAgent.com, or give us a call at 800-842-7799. Check out our website, GoldenCareAgent.com, or give us a call at 800-842-7799.